What's up guys, welcome back to my channel Anime Fiction. I'm back with a new episode of Naruto Conquered a Mysterious World Part 3. And if you did enjoy the video, give this video a like, and if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 7. The two didn't take long to arrive to the party location, the Uzumaki Garden. It was a lovely setting, with green grass, a small pond stocked with fish, and flowers all around.
When Rika and Naruto arrived, people suspected she had stolen his heart.
Rika's family members cheered as she moved up to the females while Naruto greeted the men. Rika's father, Steven, was an American citizen who had married into the family because he was only a businessman and Rumiko was from a large clan.
He stood tall and athletically, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He was 10 centimeters taller than Naruto.
Naruto was not intimidated by the stranger and welcomed him normally. Steven grabbed his hand and pulled him into an embrace, saying, "That means you're my son from now on, don't you?" There was a menace lurking beneath those words, and Naruto was aware of it. "If you mess with my daughter, I will shove poles of varying sizes up your ass and you will never walk straight again." No, I declined her confession, but I don't have anyone I like, so I told her she could win my heart if she so desired and had the patience, Naruto replied calmly. "I see. I expected as much from you. You are a traditional guy who won't accept love until he is mature, and this just confirms it." Steven didn't become furious because it was an incident that would help his little girl grow and mature. The family was not the sort to spoil their children because it would weaken them and ruin their future. "You are correct, as I am waiting until I am older. Thank you for not becoming enraged. Uncle, please enjoy yourself while I excuse myself," Naruto said as they turned back to face the others. Minato ran into Steven after he had left. Even though he was 40 years old, his father looked the same. His father had the same demeanor as in the other world and was a very kind person who was soft-spoken most of the time but turned severe when necessary.
He was devoted and conscientious. He was a wonderful parent and spouse. He was a powerful man with a lot of promise, and his Digimon partners Jazarichman and Black Rapidmon had a good chance of developing into Mega soon.
As he hugged Naruto, his eyes contained a mild reproach. He was excited about his child's potential and had been looking forward to this day. Menma was his eldest son, but unlike Naruto, he was cruel and proud. Both appeared identical but were diametrically opposed.
Minato adored them both equally, yet he preferred Naruto due to his personality.
"Are you sure about this?" Minato said of Rika. This was not a typical relationship, and it could not be regarded as such. Whatever went wrong could and would affect both families. "I am certain. I discussed it with Rika, and we agreed to it." Naruto expected these questions to arise once he took action, so it came as no surprise.
He patted Minato on the back and waved him off. "What about Hikari and Yurine?" Minato said, knowing Naruto was also close to the head of Digi, Destin's sister. His older cousin was separated by generations. They weren't related in any way.
She was also close to Naruto and shown interest in him. Minato would be satisfied with any of the girls, but Naruto had the last say. He simply did not want Naruto to behave in the manner of his grandfather Jiraiya. The man had a habit of sleeping around and having sex. He was constantly having one-night stands wherever he went and writing about them for people to enjoy.
Tsunade, his wife, didn't mind because he was too much for her to bear.
He didn't have romantic relationships with others, only physical ones.
Minato despised his father's pranks and hoped that he would not taint his children.
Minato was a monogamous man who despised people who cheated on each other. He was open to polygamous unions if the persons were capable of it. "I like both of them, but maybe we'll just be friends. I'm not sure where my heart will settle," Naruto responded honestly, holding Minato's shoulders. They each looked each other in the eyes and said, "Don't disappoint me." "I won't. Bonds are very important to me." "Good. What about your partner? Will you join the task force for a while or leave for the digital world?" Minato examined his eyes for a response and was satisfied for the time being. He knew the type of person Naruto was, therefore he had reasonable expectations of him. "I will personally train with Asura before moving out to the digital world. I like the people on the task force, but I am not interested in doing this work. Hey, I don't mind, so just enjoy, Minato said as he clapped Steven on the shoulder and moved over to him. Naruto sealed Asura in the Digivice because he didn't want him to be influenced by people. Because he was a new Digimon, things would have an immediate impact on him.
He made the others do the same so that all the Digimon could relax.
Congratulations on getting such partners, you finally did it, Naruto said as his older brother wrapped his arm around his neck.
They were both the same height and appearance, except for his black hair and crimson eyes.
Thank you. How about you? Naruto asked as he hugged him. His older brother was also a significant figure. Because of Menma's aggressive attitude, he had 3 champion Digimon, and his starter was already aiming for the ultimate transformation. Hey, your older brother is doing fine. I will soon get engaged to Elsa and marry. My life is simple and I am walking straight. Don't move hither-thither or you will end up with too much on your plate, Menma advised, seeing as Naruto hadn't settled down yet and had a lot of girls around him. Menma had been in his position, but he quickly found love in Elsa and they married. She was Russian, and they had met in the digital world's frozen lands. Don't be concerned, I know what I'm doing. I'm just offering advice. Do you want to join us in the digital world from now on? Menma asked Naruto again to see if he had changed his mind.
Not now, but definitely later, Naruto said as they walked along to greet the guests.
Don't act like a stranger and come join us soon, okay? Menma bumped into him and smiled as he went away. He wasn't worried about his brother becoming a royal knight. His partner's final development was Heavy Leomon, one of the most powerful Mega-level Digimon. He would be one of the strongest members of the family with that Digimon, and he would work with his other Digimon to raise them to Mega level, making him the strongest clan chief of the Uzumaki family.
Naruto left his sibling and met Taichi and Hikari as they arrived.
Tai had brown eyes and spiky brown hair. He was tall for most people, yet he was still 10 centimeters shorter than Naruto.
Tai wore a dark blue long-sleeved shirt beneath a blue button-up short-sleeved shirt with yellow stars on the sleeves and a pocket on the left breast, as well as black leggings and shoes.
He was 25 years old and the leader of the Digi Destin, one of the most powerful tamer groups due to the fact that all members had the potential for powerful Mega-level Digimon. He was a compassionate and brave man who would risk anything for the safety of his family. He viewed everyone beneath him like family as a leader and was rarely harsh. His partner was Agumon, who had evolved into Wargreymon, but there had been reports that Tai's Digimon had more promise. There are rumors of a higher evolution or matrix evolution, which would propel it into the super ultimate range. Some Digimon and their tamers may enter the matrix evolution and merge to become a powerful Digimon. Some high-ranked tamers did this for a new form or simply a power-up. There was also the Hyper Spirit and Fusion evolutions. The Fusion evolution differed from the DNA Digivolution in that it employed the same Digimon. The Digimon with 2 forms on the same level could merge both forms to create a new evolution.
Hyper Spirit combined numerous Digimon of various levels, with the tamer serving as the core, to create a new powerful Digimon. This was the birth of Emperor Greymon and the source of its ultimate might.
Hikari, his sister, was by his side. She was a lovely young lady with long brown hair and brown eyes. She was a bro-con who adored her brother. Hikari was Tai's biggest supporter and was always cheering him on. She was dressed in a pink shirt and black leggings. She wore star earrings and carried a whistle, similar to how Tai wore his goggles around his neck. They treasured both of those objects. Carrie was a sweet and gentle girl who was the polar opposite of Rika in many ways. Nonetheless, she was courageous most of the time, and Tai was always there for her when she wasn't. She, like Naruto, was a new tamer who only recently received a companion. Salomon was her mate, and it had the ability to reach Offhanamon. It was one of the causes of Rika's rage. Both girls were rivals because they grew up in the same area and knew each other. She was born with extraordinary skills and could sense what the Digimon was thinking and feeling. She exuded a serene aura that enchanted wild Digimon and other Digimon who were unrelated to her. She possessed the ability to heal. She had joined her brother's gang and was the main character, along with Takaru, who had Seraphimon. With these two and additional acquisitions this month, the Digi Destin gained momentum and were widely projected to become Asia's strongest group. Hey, I heard and came right away. Congratulations on getting such a powerful partner, I am jealous. Tai, unlike his right-hand Yamato, was a laid-back guy who didn't act formal. Naruto parted ways with him after shaking hands and offering him a one-handed embrace. Thank you. I hope I can have a strong bond with my partner like you have with Ryu, Naruto stated honestly. Tai's partner was Ryu, and they were like brothers. Haha. Just treat them like family, and they will treat you like family. Now you kids chill while I meet the others, Tai said, patting his shoulder and left them together. Tai admired Naruto for his personality and abilities. He was eager to take him home because he knew his sister liked him. Both brothers and sisters liked him and wanted him to join them.
They were oblivious of what had occurred because they had not yet met Rika.
I am happy for you, and I hope that things only get better for you, Hikari said softly as she hugged him. Her body stayed longer than usual, and he knew she was sending him a message. Most people wouldn't be able to resist her charms easily, especially with her special aura that attracted people. Thank you. I wish the same for you. Come, let's get something to drink and eat, Naruto said as he led her to the food tables. You look different today. Feels like you let some weight off your shoulder, Carrie observed. She, like Naruto, could feel emotions and tell when things had changed.
Naruto realized she sensed his release. He'd been acting restricted out of habit.
Of course, he carried me around gently today, so all the trouble melted away. Rika had been watching Naruto while conversing with the people around her when she noticed Carrie and decided to barge in on the conversation. Hikari was taken aback when she heard those remarks and looked at Naruto. She put too much thought into it and assumed they had gone further into the relationship, making it physical. Rika was aware that her remarks were suggestive, and she desired that Hikari sweat. Hikari has known both of them since they were 5 years old. Naruto had always been the same to her since she could remember. He was powerful and knowledgeable. He had been friendly and patient. Hikari adored her brother for being the best brother ever, but she adored Naruto above anything. He was comparable to her brother in some ways, and he possessed the other characteristics she valued. Most folks were not as gentle as he was. He treated her like a child, and he did the same to others. Hikari was a conservative person, therefore she had never been too open about her feelings. Everyone else thought she was gorgeous and strong, but Hikari thought Rika looked better. She was occasionally envious of Rika's approach to things. Rika was usually close to Naruto and made life difficult for him. Hikari saw her as a rival in the same way as Rika did. Hikari was a skilled tamer, but she had never defeated Rika in combat. Even in its rookie form, her Digimon was unfit for combat against a combat species like Renamon. Nonetheless, she chose to proceed and wished to welcome everyone to join the Digi Destin because the world outside was harsh and merciless.
It was preferable for them to collaborate and accelerate their progress. Even though she thought Naruto was outstanding, she thought this.
Hikari didn't see the sense in turning down the invitation. He wanted to be free, and he could with them.
He desired to lead his own team, and he was able to do so with them. He didn't want anyone above him, which was Naruto's real reason for declining. Hikari couldn't believe what he was hearing since he was behaving arrogant and conceited.
He had always appeared humble to her. That was shocking, but this one went above and above. Naruto had demonstrated no interest in sexual activity. Others' lust might be felt by her, but he had never seen anyone with such gaze. His eyes were always crystal clear. He didn't even bring it up. She assumed he wouldn't sleep with anyone and was looking for real love, something he was certain of and would marry shortly after.
That was her thought, and she aspired to be that person.
She had seen Rika attempt and fail, and she was pleased with herself.
She was a good person, yet it was difficult for her to feel good about such things.
Regardless, she considered Rika as a friend and would be content if Naruto was content with their relationship. But this was far too surprising. Naruto looked at Rika with a smug smirk on her face, as though she was telling her that she had won.
He could sense Hikari's emotions shift in an instant and gripped Rika's arm before hugging her. Don't think too hard about it, Hikari. All I did was carry her around.
It is a good tactic, but don't use it. I don't want others to think that I sleep around, and I don't want others to see you as a person who shares such delicate details, Naruto said to Hikari before returning his eyes to Rika. Rika nodded as she noticed his solemn demeanor. Thinking about it made her appear like a jerk, so she said, I won't do it. Good, Naruto said as he pinched her face. Hikari saw the difference as she glanced at them both. Their feelings seemed to have intensified, and Rika was acting so frilly in public. She could tell this wasn't a game. Something had happened, and it had resulted in such a drastic transformation. Rika already liked him, but Naruto didn't, so she had to persuade him. Do you love each other? Is this your answer? Hikari said, suppressing her unpleasant emotions. She was clearly frustrated and wanted to yell. I love him, and he will love me with time. So, you did confess. I thought you didn't have the courage to act. Are you going to try stealing him now, or will you step down like you always do? Rika triumphantly smiled. She adored it. She adored looking down from on high. It made her very delighted to see her adversary act so subdued. She moved closer and took a position in front of Hikari, her eyes demanding. Rika admired Hikari and wished for her to speak up. Hikari's gaze flickered as she bit her lower lip. Those words wounded her, yet she smiled. I'm not sure what you mean because I've never been a coward, but what you're doing is definitely cowardly, Hikari said, taking a step forward and looking Rika in the eyes. Sparks flew when their chests touched. Naruto anticipated this consequence and lightly slapped Rika's rear before yanking her away by the waist. Rika cried out in a beautiful tone but quieted down when Naruto embraced her. She couldn't help but smile at Hikari. Carrie, Rika hasn't done anything. I gave her the same answer that I gave you. I am open to anyone attempting to win my heart. However, do you have the patience and desire to continue on such a path? Perhaps you will regret pursuing me, as there is no guarantee I will ever respond to your affections. I want you girls to think about it carefully. Naruto spoke up before Rika and Hikari caused a scene. The grown-ups would blame him for not stopping it, which would harm their reputation. Things spread far too quickly. Naruto had already used his abilities to silence them. His capabilities had improved by a level since becoming a tamer, since the association had finally unlocked his abilities. His kinship with Asura provided him an additional boost. Asura's primary element affinity was fire, but he also had yin-yang, therefore those affinities intensified inside Naruto. Rika locked her gaze on him with intensity. Are you serious about this? Do you really want to ask her while I'm still here? Naruto, you've got guts, I tell you. Who knows? Perhaps someone will stab you in your sleep. Naruto patted her head to calm his tiny hellion as she talked through her eyes. Hikari remained mute as she observed the encounter. It was something she had been envious of because she couldn't do it. Hikari blinked as she gazed at him. She grinned as she realized her thoughts were muddled by the answer. Because it affected Rika and Naruto, her negative demeanor was unexpected. Thank you for the clarification and the warning, but I have chosen to pursue this path. If I wanted to take the easy way, I wouldn't be Tachi's sister, nor would I join him on this journey into the unknown. From a young age, I have fought and faced the dangers present in our world. Do you think I will back down because of some risk of a heartbreak? Don't look down on me, just because I am soft-spoken. My heart can handle everything and nothing can break my. Fortunately, I am an empath like you, she said with a slight smile, and our emotions will reach a crescendo once we connect. You're such a braggart, can't you speak normally? We'll reach a crescendo, what a corny line, Rika joked, making Hikari blush. The girls locked their gazes on each other, as if a battle was going to break out. I know how you feel. Your offer is appealing, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure if you're ready for it. You girls may have to wait another 2 years or so before my interest develops. Naruto snatched both girls into a hug and whispered to them the truth that they wouldn't realize unless they knew about his past life. It's not a long time. I'm willing to spend years developing this bond and continuing our path together. Carrie didn't consider Naruto to be her final aim. He had the love aim, whereas she had a life goal for which she worked. I will take that as a challenge and force you to confess before the 2 years are up, Rika replied. I'm looking forward to this surprise. Now be good girls and stop causing problems for others. Naruto met up with Steve Rogers after leaving the females to discuss. He was the leader of the Digimon task force in the United States and one of the most powerful tamers alive. He appeared young, although he was in his 60s. He led the team to protect the peace in his region, despite his muscular build and excellent heart. Because the United States had the most powerful tamers and people with violent tendencies, the territory was difficult to regulate. It had survived the first Digimon invasion and rebuilt itself from the ground up. China was on a similar scale of power, but it appears that the United States got lucky with its tamers, as it was the site of the world's most dangerous fights, which resulted in tremendous mutations. They also had the most depraved people on the planet, therefore new types appeared there first. It was unexpected to see him there. He was in town, meeting the head of the local task force, and had decided to accompany him to this event. Steve was already aware of Naruto, and after they had battled once, he had been personally invited to join them in the United States. Congratulations Naruto, I knew you had a bright future ahead of you. This was an unexpected event, so I didn't really prepare a proper gift. Hopefully this will suffice. Steve was a nice and wise man. He shook Naruto's hand and hugged him. Naruto got along best with the older folks he met in this world because they were his age. He was close with Minato's boss and loved Steve. Steve pulled out his red and blue Digivice, which had a star on the back. Naruto took out his Digivice, and Steve sent him a message. Naruto was difficult to surprise, but what Steve sent him was the most valuable thing he had ever gotten in both life. Steve, I can't have this, it's too precious, use it on your partner, Naruto wished, but the item was too good to pass up. People would kill for it if the Uzumaki clan did not have it. It was a gold chrome Digizoid component. It was the most powerful metal in the digital universe, practically invincible. It came from the Wonglong ore. Wonglong ore was an extremely rare virtual ore found exclusively underground. It could only be scratched by other Wonglong ore, therefore it couldn't be compared to other minerals or metals, and measuring its absolute hardness was impossible. Despite this, it was extremely heavy, making it unsuitable for weapons or armor. Although living things could unify with Wonglong ore, it took even more years than those since the Age of Myth, therefore Wonglongmon was the only Digimon discovered to have unified with it at the time. Groundramon, which tends to live in veins of the uncommon ore, was discovered to have Wonglong ore elements in the scales covering its body. Chrondigizoid metal was said to be a better rare metal because it addressed these flaws. The Chrondigizoid metal used by metal species Digimon was officially named Chrondigizoid Hybrid Organism Alloy, and it is abbreviated as CHO alloy. Chrondigizoid alloy was an intermediate material between Chrondigizoid metal and living tissue, and it possessed both the super hard firmness of Chrondigizoid and the smoothness of living tissue. Armor made of Chrondigizoid would deflect any attack. Chrome Digizoid, the virtual super metal refined from Chrondigizoid, was the strongest metal in the digital world, vulnerable only to the most powerful attacks and other items constructed of Chrome Digizoid. As a result, it was commonly employed as a hardness standard, with lower purity Chrome Digizoid being significantly softer. Chrome Digizoid mines were rare and few since the metal was generated through unknown processes and contained high-class data. The metal was in short supply in the huge digital multiverse, resulting in major wars. Powerful groups and kingdoms guarded the territory where they discovered it, and independent adventurers would be slain if they invaded such lands. Many Digimon, particularly those of the metal species, incorporated Chrome Digizoid into their weapons or armor, and it could even be grafted directly to the user's body. The Chrome Digizoid was also used to make the Digi-Egg of Miracles. Despite being a metal, it was sufficiently flexible to be employed in the construction of wings. Certain beings gained sentience as a result of their Chrome Digizoid composition. While the original Chrome Digizoid was fairly powerful on its own, it was possible to modify it into 5 multicolored varieties, each with its own set of skills. These refined alloys can then be hybridized to produce even stronger versions.
The gold version was the most powerful of these types.
It was a little bit, about the size of a tennis ball, but the price was incredible. Steve smiled, expecting such a reaction. Naruto, unlike other small children, has always been humble and devoid of avarice. Such a thing would tempt any mortal soul to want it, even if they would say the same words as Naruto to appear modest, knowing that the gift would still be passed on to them. Naruto's remarks were genuine, and he had no desire for it. Are you sure? My partner already has upgrades, so he doesn't need this tiny thing, but I was thinking you could make some gauntlets for your partners out of it, Steve inquired as he explained his intention for the item. It was all in the name of goodwill and strengthening their friendship. Steve wished Naruto could join them in Washington, but even if he couldn't, Naruto was the future, thus it was best to arm him. There were other kids with potential, but none were as close to him as Naruto, so he presented the gift. He thought Gallantmon was a superior Digimon than Genkuman because Genkuman had to battle to get there, whereas Gallantmon was Omnimon's right hand. Omnimon was the new commander of the Royal Knights, while the previous leader Imperialdramon Paladin mode had vanished without a trace decades before. The old leader was the most powerful Digimon known to humans, whereas the new leader was a grade below the old.
Regardless, even the new one was too powerful for anybody other than humanity's top two to battle.
Naruto pondered his comments after hearing them. I'm sure, Naruto replied, swiftly returning it. This item was a bomb and would give him a lot of difficulty at this point. He didn't even need it at this point. His Digimon couldn't manage the integration at this point, and it was like putting up a giant warning sign. Come murder me in style. Good choice, but I'll put it aside for you. When you're ready, give me a call and I'll send it to you. Steve was relieved since even the brightest youngsters would falter at this point and forget about the hazards. To add to that, Naruto didn't even say to save it for later. It meant he wasn't concerned with obtaining the medal. You are doing me too much favor with this action. I will look for something to give before that day, or you could call on me in an emergency and I will come, Naruto predicted. The gift bore his name, and he wasn't going to stop tossing it at him. Naruto had intended to seek and discover such things on his own, but he had already obtained a portion.
It didn't modify the plan because he still needed more of it.
These medals were the ideal way to give your companion a permanent power boost. Digimon evolutions having this medal as part of their attributes required the most data. Tai had to commit genocide in the dark area and find a plethora of different ores in order to transform his Metal Greymon into Wargreymon. Yamato and his Metal Garurumon were treated similarly. Some Digimon evolved readily, but others were impossible jobs on their own, which is why there weren't as many of them. There was also the fact that strong Ultimate Digimon were capable of breaking the barrier between worlds, as were all Mega. This was in the past, and the barrier had since been strengthened, making it difficult for Digimon to pass through unless a crisis occurred. Fine, I'll call you when you've grown some and send you on a difficult mission. No more complaining or I'll have Wanda brainwash you, Steve said, patting his shoulder. Wanda, also known as the Scarlet Witch, was a formidable team member. She was a new type with control over chaos, as well as mind control. She was actually stronger than Steve, as were other members such as Thor, Sentry, and Hulk, but Steve was the leader because to his leadership abilities. No need, I'm fine with that arrangement, Naruto responded, avoiding having the witch touch his mind. Steve was pleased, and he told Naruto about his situation with the Brotherhood. Along with the White Tiger Gang from China, the SUC from Korea, and even Ouroboros from Japan, the Hellfire Club had been causing havoc in his domain. The X-Men assisted, but the fact that so many criminal organizations were involved in their country was frightening. They were concerned that something major might occur that they would be unaware of. It wasn't something Steve would have discussed with anyone else, but his faith in Naruto compelled him to do so. Naruto could see why he was concerned and mentioned a few reasons.
There was some treasure in the digital world area related to the United States.
A one-of-a-kind Digimon would appear in the United States. Finally, and worst of all, they were attempting to destabilize the government and destroying global balance in order to avoid having to hide like rodents. Steve had considered the first two, but the last one had never occurred to him, and the same was true for others. He was so taken aback that he excused himself and removed all of the task force's key personnel.
Kushina and Minato had to leave the meeting to join the conversation, which had begun with Naruto's last suggestion as the focal point. Naruto took it in stride, knowing that life would never be completely tranquil for him. He only had to walk his course and hope he didn't go down the cliff this time.
The party went until late at night, and the tamers got a variety of gifts from everyone. People ate and partied because they were all acquaintances, no strangers were invited. Carrie and her brother departed the party, and Rika and her family also left. Takato was still bursting with energy, but his parents were taking care of him. He wasn't staying up all night making plans today. Henry didn't need to be instructed because he had a timetable to follow, therefore unless there was a special event, he would go to sleep.
Everyone went to bed before 12 a.m., but there were days when Naruto sat up late contemplating on the pond.
He was going to stay up late again today because of something that hadn't happened in decades.
Naruto returned to his room after the guests had left, where Morrigan awaited him.
Morrigan was a stunning young woman with long sea green hair who wore a sleeveless black bustier-style top adorned with white feathers and a small heart cut out of the midriff, purple nylons emblazoned with bat patterns, black boots, and prominent bat-like wings protruding from her back and sides of her head. She could morph her wings and limbs into a variety of weapons, including spikes, blades and drills, and even a handheld laser gun, as well as shield herself from opposing strikes. Her wings could detach from her, forming an army of bats to aid her in combat, and her clothing was also formed of a swarm of otherworldly bats. Her looks were fantastic, and her figure was just seductive. Her physique was a work of art in itself. It was obvious that she was directly related to Lilithman, the demon lord of lust.
Her personality was similar to that of a succubus, however she did not murder her partners. She was a sexual and lively person. She was frank about her wants and seduced anybody she pleased.
Morrigan was a nice and compassionate lady despite her nasty nature. She adored the Uzumaki and her sisters.
She would give her life for them. She was the strongest of the maids, but she was the worst tamer because she was too indolent.
She would have been the strongest tamer in the Uzumaki family if she had given it her all. Lady Devimon and Dumon were her allies. Her partner and she were both powerful ultimate-ranked Digimon with the potential to become Mervamon, one of the Olympus 12. As a result, she was a highly prominent figure in Japan, and everyone was keeping a close eye on her. She was 25 years old and had joined the Uzumaki family when she was 15 years old. She had become lost in the dark area and had lived without being raised by anyone. She had no recollection of her existence in the area, and it appears that she had horrible trauma stored in her memory. With the horrible monsters, human and Digimon, the dark region was a frightening place. It wasn't difficult to envisage her being tortured in numerous ways.
Morrigan, on the other hand, was never upset and was always a calm person.
It was a mystery how Naruto had such a powerful life energy, but she didn't care about discovering the source. She was mainly interested in the vitamin D. "Is this why you called for me?" Naruto was surprised Morrigan would target him. She had also called him throughout the date, and her face now revealed a strong hunger. "I'm sorry, Master, but you look so delicious. I've always found you charming, and your life force was already intense, so I had some expectations, but now that I've seen it up close, your life force has exceeded anything I could have imagined. I know you don't like what I do, but it's my nature, and I can't live without it. People call me lazy, but my powers won't increase unless I indulge in extreme sexual relationships. You know I like it, but it gets boring after a while, and I want to experience true love, and most people can't ever match my power." Morrigan appealed to his emotions and demonstrated her vulnerability.
What about Thor, Sentry, and the Hulk? Not my types. One is a mental wreck, one is a berserker, and the other is muscle brain.
You are my type. You have the looks and the mind to catch my interest. Please, Master, allow me to serve you. I have been waiting for this day for a long time now. Morrigan didn't even ask Naruto to take her as a lover. It was something she thought was unthinkable. However, she assumed that appealing to him as a maid was easier because it was extremely common in clans and even someone like Rika wouldn't mind. For a few period, Naruto remained mute as he sought to discern what she truly felt and desired. He understood her problem and felt horrible about it. Morrigan was family to him. Therefore he couldn't turn a blind eye, especially because he was someone who was always willing to help people. "Let me try something," Naruto said, taking her hand in his and transferring his energy into Morrigan. However, it did not work, otherwise Morrigan would have done it already because it would have been much easier. "Master, there is no other way. My body will not accept such energy because it requires the exchange of bodily fluids," Morrigan reminded, her eyes brimming with eagerness and excitement. Naruto felt bad about letting her go and acting on things she didn't agree with when he saw her like that. It's not like he thought she was unattractive. Morrigan was extraordinarily attractive in his opinion, and he felt the same way about her. He didn't like her type in that way, though. He leaned toward the conservative side of things. "I am sorry, but we are not compatible. However, I will help you until then." Naruto gripped her chin and declined her offer before giving her a long kiss that lasted a long time. He hadn't kissed someone in a long time, and it felt especially good because of Morrigan's abilities. It also felt really pleasant for the female due of his chakra abilities. Morrigan felt breathless and energized after releasing her. She couldn't believe a kiss could make her feel this way, but it did, and it strengthened her desire for Naruto. "Master, thank you very much, but I don't want to change my target. I will definitely make you take me one day, and I don't mind changing for it." Morrigan hugged him closely, knowing that Naruto's preferences were different, and she couldn't expect him to simply say all right. Before it could be considered, she needed to work on her image. Naruto couldn't figure out what was wrong with all the girls surrounding him as he watched the girl go. Even when he said no and made things difficult, none of them backed down. "If I had been younger, I would have undoubtedly liked such an experience." Naruto reflected on his easygoing disposition from his youth and smiled nostalgically. Morning was different for Naruto because his bonds were dissolved and his power was free to flourish without boundaries for the first time in decades. He had stayed awake most of the night, meditating under the moonlight and allowing his body to activate the chakra within. During that time, however, he had been attacked by another vampire, succubus. It was Lady Devimon, Morrigan's humanoid companion Eve. Unlike her counterpart Anjuamon, she was a being of dark desires that she embraced. Lady Devimon was the fallen version of Anjuamon, hence she was naturally a high-class beauty.
She has blood-red eyes and pale skin. Her entire body was shrouded in blackness, living darkness. She covered her face with a leather mask and wore a leather outfit.
She always wore shackles and utilized them in battle. Eve, like her master, was a slut. Her final development was Lilithman, therefore it was obvious what kind of personality she possessed. She, like Morrigan, was a succubus, but Eve had cruel impulses, unlike her master, who liked to try everything.
Eve enjoyed turning people into masochists and breaking them to make them her sex slaves.
She was exclusively loyal to her master and admired Morrigan's outlandish attitude. She had no morals but followed the rules because breaking them could result in death. Dark beings' lack of morals and dark impulses made them difficult to control in comparison to other species, therefore most people avoided dark evolutions. Eve, on the other hand, was a lovely woman with a decent head on her shoulders. She was an amazing boxer and one of a kind. Eve had discovered something new the night before. A man had vanquished her during a battle of wills. Because of Naruto's enormous life energy, she had sparred with him and violently kissed him. The life force wasn't huge enough for Eve, but it was insanely pure. It was something that could only be found in Digimon of Mega level. Eve had become drunk on the delectable taste and attempted to use her skills on Naruto to lure him to go further. In the human world, however, she was restricted and couldn't produce much strength unless her master gave permission. Naruto kicked her a dollar around the garden and pinned her to the ground. He wasn't the sort to back down just because the opponent was a woman, and he had already learnt beyond his history so that he could fight family at full strength. Naruto effortlessly subdued her because his power was easily at the champion level and his fighting experience was at the mega level. The perverted woman didn't appear to like getting beaten up because she didn't protest. Regardless, Naruto assisted her and cautioned her not to do it again or he would be forced to fire her. However, The girl did not appear to have learned her lesson. Naruto awoke to find the girl sleeping on his bed once more. It appeared that his communication to Hikari had been shared with everyone, and they were all attempting to seduce him. Naruto got out of bed and went to take a bath, and Morrigan and Eve followed him as if it were natural. Naruto agreed because it wasn't the first time they'd helped him unwind. Morrigan acted like a proper maid, dipping into the hot water and making him comfortable. Naruto's mind began to move again as he began to relax.
Naruto had no idea why he had been reborn, but he could make some educated conclusions based on his knowledge of the digital world.
The digital world took from the actual world and created famous things. There was a manga about his existence in this world that ended decades before his birth. The digital world may have absorbed that and dragged his soul to this planet. It was also possible that he wasn't the real Naruto, but rather a computer creature. Finally, there was the potential that he would be summoned for a duty by a higher being. He'd read enough of such stories to his little sister Rias, who was a fan of the fantasy genre, for her to remember them. Heshimon, Gaimon, and Shikamen were possible choices, but he wasn't sure because none had contacted him. Regardless, he didn't let situations out of his control bother him. He had his partner to worry about. He had received training. He needed to meet with his team. He needed to go on dates and relax. He had an appointment with Tai and Steven. Yes, we will make sure you are happy and satisfied. I believe Hilda and Ruri will easily join if Master desires. Hilda and Ruri both love you, and Ruri has always been vocal about it. Morrigan whispered from behind him as she massaged his shoulders, attempting to convince him to form a harem. She cared for her sisters and wouldn't leave them out. Naruto knew Hilda like the back of his hand, and she would always give without hesitation. Ruri, on the other hand, was a proud and violent young lady. She adored him, but sharing him with someone else did not appear to be an option. Her personality and power were berserker. Ruri, like Morrigan, was linked to a demon king and possessed the power of fury. She wasn't Demon's daughter, but she was linked to him. Hulk from the U.S. Task Force was Demon's offspring, whereas Thor was Odinman's son. I think Ruri would try to chop you up for suggesting it. Ruri swinging her big war axe made Naruto chuckle. She was an expert close-range fighter with a powerful body that made him look feeble in comparison even when she wasn't using chakra. Master is terrified. I assumed you didn't fear anyone and would make anyone bow to your reign. Eve teased as she attempted to enter the bath, but was halted by his look. Not really, I could easily handle Ruri and the rest of you. Are you being too arrogant, Master? You know, any mega-level Digimon will devour you in bed. If you met Lilithman, she would completely drain you and you would not even scratch the surface of her desire. Eve took a deep breath as she spoke to him. Naruto was indeed stunning, but she could please him on her own. His physical stature was not on par with hers. Naruto was able to glimpse her mental process, and Morrigan seemed to agree. Naruto's stats could improve, but no human had ever attained the stats of an ultimate Digimon. Eve could murder him with a single swipe of her palm. Believe me, you haven't seen my progress yet. My powers act differently now that the seal has been broken, and my power will expand very quickly. My numbers would be comparable to a strong Mega's. I've seen my potential, so let me demonstrate it to you. As reality rippled about them and the room transformed into space, Naruto's eyes gleamed. They witnessed an elder Naruto coated in golden energy in space, and he launched a massive spiraling ball towards a planet, causing it to explode. There was a target there, but the girls couldn't see it. Eve was impressed by the scene because no ordinary Mega could pull it off. But she wasn't convinced. She assumed he was hallucinating. What are you talking about? Did he smoke something while she wasn't looking?
As she rolled her eyes, she felt her respect for her dwindle. Morrigan almost screamed. Naruto was meant to be responsible and humble.
How did he come to have such thoughts? Was this something that happened recently, or was he always masking such foolish beliefs beneath that wise persona? It took no genius to see their reactions. He could sense their affection points dwindling. He was about to be labeled as a retarded braggart. It almost made me giggle uncontrollably. It was comparable to the reception he had when he announced he wanted to be Hokage when he was younger. I know it appears absurd, doesn't it? But you will notice a difference. How far do you believe I can travel in a month? Naruto leaned back and stared Morrigan in the eyes.
She kept her features normal since she didn't want to make him feel down, as Eve had done.
She could tell by his eyes that he was normal. They weren't out of the ordinary, but the claim was nonetheless excessive. That was near to the Royal Knight's power. She moistened her lips and lowered her head before responding with a smile. Equal to a peak Liamon. Morrigan responded. Her choice was rated very high, but she chose him because he was precious to her. Though she expected him to reach the highest champion level, she knew that reaching even the lowest ultimate level was difficult. Champion Digimon was viewed as fodder by Ultimate Digimon. It was unusual for a champion to be able to battle against one. Naruto's fight with Liamon was not typical. It was programmed to be a weak champion, although the genuine one was an excellent fighter with great numbers, even surpassing Greymon and other Digimon. Ha ha ha, I see you believe I've gone insane. It's not the first time I've seen those expressions, but I'm up for the challenge. In 1 month, I shall go past the high champion level and defeat a Digimon of your choosing. What do you think, ladies? Naruto laughed with real delight. This was his favorite sensation. The difficulty and excitement of the fight were far superior than the desk job. Eve noticed his self-assurance and brilliance. His voice and aura were incredibly pure, which was another reason she didn't like him, yet his confidence drew her in. I really don't want to switch forms, so please use caution. Eve whispered this while biting his ear and drawing blood. Eve would become Anjuamon if her dark side was cleansed. Morrigan's eyes gleamed at his expression since he appeared incredibly lovely, free of any problems. I'm not sure what to say about this other than I'll believe it when I see it. Master doesn't want me to lie, does he? Morrigan smiled as she hugged him behind his back. I wouldn't do it, but please understand that I do not entertain wild fancies, such things are beneath me. Naruto didn't say anything else because he was breaking the rules of this universe. Back home, he was already out of the ordinary, and they wouldn't believe it unless they saw his fight with Momoshiki and Ashiki. After finishing his wash, Naruto ate breakfast with his family before proceeding to the Uzumaki Residence's artificial mountainside. It was a rough location with massive rocks and a false mountain that gave the place a nice appearance. This was employed for both aesthetics and physical strength training. Naruto finally summoned his partner Asura, who had been resting but had awoken early due to the commotion of his early morning activities, as he walked to this location. He was merely a new Digimon with rudimentary knowledge of the basics. His personality had yet to fully develop, but he began as a calm and collected individual. Asura wasn't hungry because the Digivice had given him food information when he inquired. Naruto had set it to give him with food whenever he was hungry. Asura was knowledgeable enough to take care of his own physical needs, and all he needed was Naruto to provide him with the necessary resources. Asura had a vast open space within the Digivice with no furniture. There were paintings and encouraging literature, as well as a bookshelf with only one book on martial arts. There was a TV showing battle videos. It lacked life because Asura was new and had yet to acquire preferences. The device handled waste data and transformed it into energy. Standing in front of his master, Asura noticed that his master had changed since their first meeting. He appeared to be happier in certain ways. He didn't understand, but he suspected it had something to do with his mating partners. Is it making you happy? Asura was perplexed. He was a Candlemon, and most Digimon don't have sexual impulses, therefore he never understood it. How was the night? As he sat down on the boulder in a meditative stance, Naruto questioned his small buddy. He could see that Asura was curious, which was a positive characteristic, and perceptive. It was clear that he had inherited a lot from him. With his yin-yang skills and abilities, Asura was not going to be a typical Genkuman. When he looked at his buddy, he saw he had a long way to go, but Naruto would mold him up to be above his prime. It was fine, Master, thank you for asking. How about your evening, Master? Asura inquired calmly as the flame flickered above him. He spoke via the wax body rather than his true body, which was the flame. Hey, it was fantastic. Do you know what our goal is now? Naruto smiled as he patted Asura with his chakra hand, while his Digimon partner watched with fascination. Our goal is to make me Genkuman. Asura responded without hesitation because he couldn't think of another goal. That is part of our goal, Naruto said, nodding. Our true objective is to make you stronger than Omnimon. Asura blinked in amazement as he examined the facts in his thoughts. Omnimon would give Genkuman 3 shots if he was lucky, or 1 shot if he was unlucky. Is Master insane, or is this an exaggerated part of his speech? Like, shoot for the stars so we can at least land on the moon. Asura expressed his perplexity. Ha ha ha. No, it is not. Naruto couldn't stop laughing. He had progressed from this stage to the point where everyone believed everything he said, but he was now back at the beginning. It actually improved my life because there wasn't much of a challenge at the top. Naruto could see that if the Otsutsuki didn't exist, his life would have been extremely monotonous, and he could have died of exhaustion.
Not many fighters enjoy dying. Asura remained silent, waiting for an explanation. His instructor was a humble and talented man, therefore his statements should have a reason.
He was ambitious, but he never touched anything out of his reach. Asura, are you the same as all the other Candlemon? Asura considered the question, and the solution seemed apparent. No, he said, not understanding. How do you rate yourself in comparison to other Candlemon? I am an A-rank rookie, while the normal version is AD rank. Asura responded calmly. A rank denoted a particularly powerful rookie who could quickly treat others of their kind as fodder. S-rank rookies were monsters capable of killing mega-level Digimon, such as Luciman. You notice the difference because you inherited my abilities. I will change your Digivolutions and teach you these talents, elevating you above Omnimon. It's our goal, does it make sense? Naruto was determined to make Asura understand since training would be ineffective if they weren't on the same page, and their link would deteriorate from a neutral point. Asura absorbed the information. He was far superior than his peers, thanks to his master's ability. His next shape would be different, and he would once again be above his kind. Repeat the technique, and his strength level would steadily rise, eventually putting him well above Genkuman. I see, but how will this work? What are we going to do? Asura agreed, but how would they get there? He felt a thrill in his digital heart as a result of this topic, but he didn't realize it. Naruto grinned as he heard the response, pleased that they were on the same page, not a bad start. I will teach you combat techniques and how to use them. I'll spar with you, while you'll spar with other Digimon. You will read and examine various materials. But we will do everything in moderation and enjoy our time so that none of us have a nervous breakdown. We're not in a race against the clock, therefore we don't have to kill ourselves to get stronger. Naruto replied while looking at Asura.
Understood. What should I do now? Naruto rose and leapt down before resting his hand on Asura. Naruto double-checked his buddy. First, I'll assist you in obtaining a humanoid form. Because all of your future evolutions will be like this, it is best to begin now. Naruto said as he visualized the scene in his head.
Asura understood the idea and realized that his current shape was not suitable for battle. Because of his limited mobility, his opponents had an advantage. Naruto brought out a golden-colored liquid metal with that understanding. It was made of the same material as Asura's candle holder. It was harder than any man-made substance and required temperatures in excess of 5,000 degrees Celsius to melt. But in the digital world, it was nothing out of the ordinary. Naruto might have obtained something better, but he didn't want to complicate things with his partner right now. It was preferable to utilize something known. Naruto placed Asura in the tub filled with liquid metal he had obtained from Digivice just before arriving here.
Naruto gained access to the tamer shop after earning money and becoming a tamer, where he could purchase digital equipment and other tamer-related products.
Asura could feel the heat from the metal, and the wax appeared to melt slightly, but he was a fire Digimon by the end of the day, so he could manipulate the wax without experiencing any pain. Naruto began the process immediately as his chakra entered Asura, with the Digivice present to assist. Naruto molded Asura with his elemental control. As Naruto used the Digivice to modify the metallic body below, Asura was held up and did not fall into the metal. Naruto produced a human-like body with a spiky tail by controlling the metal and the wax. Asura's wax form assumed a young humanoid appearance resembling Naruto's, while the golden metal was expertly weaved to construct fitting armor for his partner. Everything save the head was covered up so that Asura could remove the armor and use his was for combat when necessary. The finger sections of the gold gauntlets were also exposed. Asura looked like a proper fighter after Naruto finished, and his vulnerability was gone. Naruto pulled out his Fuinjutsu gear after the body was finished. He hadn't learnt anything powerful back home, but he was familiar with seals. Naruto sketched several weight seals that might yield up to 10 tons from Eve's blood. That was his limit, and he had no idea how to create another version. He had experimented, but it required correct understanding.
The weight seals were used to increase the strength of Asura's wax control skill and to provide more power to his iron body during a fight because he couldn't do genuine bodybuilding because he didn't have one made of flesh and blood.
Naruto also drew a barrier seal that he might use if necessary. Finally, he placed a fire sealing symbol to assist Asura in avoiding his armor melting. Naruto's only other seals were the chakra seal, storage seal, and explosion seal. He was a complete failure at this game. He didn't discuss about these abilities out of embarrassment. One of his life's regrets. He had put it off every day. I'll do it tomorrow, every day for the next decade, and that tomorrow will never arrive unless he returns to his former environment. His forefathers must be spinning in their graves at breakneck speed, because their last hope had died with no Fuinjutsu inheritance. Naruto had completed the process by expanding half of his chakra using the Digivice, which required energy to use such powers.
Tamers would kill wild Digimon and save data in order to use the Digivice's skills, but they could also feed it energy.
Naruto handed it some Digimon data he stole from his clan, as well as his chakra, for the best results. The form was made permanent and was recorded in the database.
Asura mode Candleman. It was kept by the Uzumaki clan. He wasn't the first to do so. Others had also modified their Digimon in various ways for various reasons. Stats were a typical cause, but some people didn't like how their Digimon looked like everyone else's and altered them.
Master, I'm feeling both stronger and heavier. Asura was aware that his partner could alter him, but this was a new one, and the new shape increased his stats even more. Naruto added the yin-yang symbol on the back as a finishing touch. Good, we have more work to do now. Follow my lead and keep your form. Don't give in to the weight. As he gazed at the golden wax warrior, Naruto rubbed his back. The flames appeared to be Asura's hair in a ponytail. Naruto activated the seals on his items as well. He wore weight seals at all times, but only to a certain extent because it would drain his body and his chakra wasn't high enough to heal him consistently.
Naruto extended his body in numerous flexible positions in slow motion, allowing Asura to follow.
The flame was Asura's true body, and the rest was a puppet. While watching Naruto, he readily copied what was presented but struggled due to his weight.
It wasn't a lot, only 100 kilograms, but it was plenty for a beginner.
Under the new weight, Asura had to manipulate his body to hold and act like a genuine body. The weight was an issue, but he could manage it. The issue was completing the exercises with it. He became stuck after performing certain motions and had to refocus his form. After around 10 minutes, Naruto began to sprint. He increased his speed as he circled the entire house. The pace was leisurely enough for Asura to keep up, despite the fact that his speed had grown significantly and far outpaced sound. Asura was a high-potential Digimon, but he was still new and under strain, therefore his speed was comparable to that of a top-tier normal human athlete. Asura fell and rolled numerous times during the run as he altered his form. There were difficulties in their road since Naruto was not taking the easy way out. These are required because you won't be able to run straight in a battle. The terrain and your adversary will not make it simple for you. It is your responsibility to use what you have, which requires experience. Naruto wasn't heartless, and he kept encouraging Asura as they fled. He was like Naruto's son, so he provided him the same care he gave his children in their early years. To be continued.
That's it for this bit, guys. Thanks for listening to this video. I hope you did enjoy the part of the story, and if you did, Like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support and have a great day.